Now, if I was to say A is for, what came to your mind right now? I'm sure a lot of you were thinking A is for apple, and of course, that's what we have learned right from the school system. So everything we've learned is based on a who. Now, I grew up in West Africa, Nigeria to be precise, and in that region and at that time, apples was not something that was grown in the country. It was not something that we were used to seeing at all. But in our learning, right from kindergarten, you were told that A is for apple, for something that we was not even part of our experiences. But because of the people that put in that education system within that country, within that region, that was what was in the books. A is for apple, and so we took that learning. And as rudimentary as that explanation sounds, there are a lot of other things in life that we have learned based on who has been teaching it. The materials that we've got has been based on the experiences of the who that have been teaching us those things. And by extension, the same goes for your belief systems. Everything that you have believed is based on a who. What you believe today, you've learned it from somebody, you've got it from somebody. A lot of us have got a lot of belief systems from our parents, from our cultures, from our societies, from our friends, from influences in our lives. And if you were to go back and to really look at everything you believe today, you can actually trace it to somebody that told you something, that shared an experience with you, that made you believe like you do today. So every influence that has been in your life at one point or the other has shaped your belief. This is the second principle I want to highlight as we navigate what it means to fight for our faith. What you believed always came from a who. What you believe always came from a who. Now, remember when you were growing up, your parents probably told you that, if you're going to make it in life, if you're going to be successful, then you have to be a lawyer, a doctor, a scientist, an engineer, an architect, and one of those professions. But was that really true? But we believed it wholeheartedly because it came from a who. Now, if you look into your life today, if you look into your circles today, probably most of your friends that are successful don't even practice any of those careers, but it came from a who. So everything that we believe comes from someone. That's the second principle I want us to understand when we navigate this issue of fighting for our faith. Now, every who in your life has an agenda. And if you remember as well, while growing up, there were stories that your parents made you believe, not because they were true, but just because they wanted to control you. There were some ghost stories and some other stories like that just made you behave yourself. You wouldn't go out after a certain time because you believed that something out there was going to get you. But again, we believe those things because of who told it to us. And I'm going to talk about a third principle as well, which is closely related to the second principle. Now, who you believe, or the credibility of who you believe, also aids your belief. So the more credible the influence is, the more credible the person that is speaking to you, the more likely you are to believe what they're saying. There are two sources of credible influences in your life. The first one are your teachers, which are primarily your parents, your family, and those that surrounded you, and then the schools that you went to, your school teachers, etc., or your coaches, or wherever you had people speaking into your life, people that were trusted, that were helping you to grow. Those were the credible influences, your teachers. But we also have other credible influence of people that you probably don't know, but because of the results that they garnered in their life, they become credible, like actors, politicians, powerful people, influencers basically. So they form credible sources of influence in our lives, and that's why a lot of popular people are used in advertisements, because what are they trying to do with those advertisements? They're trying to tell you, or they're trying to put those people before you because they're credible. And if that person says, "Oh, this product is great," then you're more likely to believe what they say about that product than anybody else off the street. So this is how the who affects what we believe. And it's very important that we begin to identify the various sources of the who's in our life. and to think about what we have believed from them, and to think about their influence in our life, and also to try and identify their agendas in terms of what they were teaching us, and finding out if those things were so or not. I'm sure over the course of your life you have debunked a lot of myths that people have put forward. There are a lot of beliefs that people have put forward. You debunk them because the more you've grown, the more you've experienced life, the more you've seen things, you've now realized that certain things were just not true. In 1999, when I graduated from university and I was looking for a first job, I was sent to a leading consultancy firm in Nigeria at the time, and to one of the top engineers there. And I took my CV and my cover letter, and I went over there, and was quite excited to be there in this company that was well known. And when I gave him my documents, he looked through all my documents, and there was a mistake on my cover letter, and he said something to me. He said, "You call yourself an engineer, but you can't even inspect a one-page document." And those words hit me hard, because this man was such a credible engineer within that institution, within that space. And for many years, those words affected me. I just felt I wasn't good enough to pursue a career as an engineer or anything else. And so for years, I kind of shied away from, trying to improve myself in terms of a career, just because of what this credible person had said to me, which was not necessarily true. About 15 years later, when I went for another training, and I happened to sit under someone who was quite credible and a top player in the field that he was training on, he made me believe in myself again. He said something. He says, "Look, if I can do this, then nothing stops you guys from doing this as well." And those words kind of just lifted me up. They buoyed my spirit, and I was able to go on and achieve great things in my career. I happened to work for one of the top 3 consultancies in the world, just because another credible influencer said, "You can do this." Now, I want you to think today, who are the people that have spoken into your lives? It doesn't matter how credible they are. If what they have said has given you a belief that is limiting you, it's time to challenge that belief. It's time to get rid of that belief. It's time to throw that belief out of your system. There's no one that has the right to speak into your life and to determine what your destiny is apart from God and yourself. So what have you believed? What have they spoken over you that is actually limiting you? Today, I want you to begin to uncover the who's that have spoken into your life. Uncover them. Uncover their agendas. Uncover their words. Uncover how it made you feel. And let's take those things back to the place of God, because whatever man says about you is not necessarily what God is saying about you. And what God says about you outweighs and overrules anything that man can ever say about you. So today, that's what I want us to do. Spend some time uncovering all the beliefs that you have and who sowed those beliefs into your life. Have a really great day, and we'll continue this tomorrow.